Sup everyone, Ben Barrows, aka Random Crown, back with part 2 of this $4 180 hand history review. If you all haven't seen the first part, I encourage you to go back and watch that before checking this out so you're all caught up as to where we are at. Got the kings here, under the gun +1. Standard open. Button shippity dips in for 21 blinds. Easiest call ever. And we Haiti hold against the ambitiously played Jack Queen off. If we had opened the cutoff, their shove is a lot more reasonable, but since we were early position, it is just a tad on the loose side. Ace-5 here in the baby. Under the gun +1, open limps. Small blind calls. We chiggity check our option. Flop bottom pair in the backdoor nut flush draw on this king 6-5 2-club board. Easy call after we get a min bet from the limper. 6 pairs the turn. They bet the minimum again. We call with a pair. If they're ever betting air, we are getting the right price to proceed. And even if they have something, we're getting okay odds to draw out. And they bet a bit more substantially on the river, a little less than half pot. And our pair of 5s is likely no good, so we just muck it. Standardly played. Ace-7 here in the small blind. Under the gun limps, cut off over limps. Yeah, good complete by DB in the SB. Get a queen 10-6 rainbow board. Check and fold to bet. Queen 10 now on the Bhutan. Folds to the DB on John. They open. BB calls. We get a 3 deuce 9 rainbow board. Standard C bet. Go bet. A little more than half pot. Could go less here, could go a third pot. It's such a dry board. They're not going to connect with it very much, so betting less accomplishes the same thing while not risking as much. And they call. Get an 8 on turn. Gives us a straight draw now in addition to our overs. DB bets a bit more than half pot to try and get them to fold out their lighter holdings, like a deuce or a 3, or maybe even ace high or king high that peeled the flop. And they call, and thankfully the river is a queen, giving DB top pair, and they just put the BB all in for around a third pot, just value betting pair of queens, and they fold. Ship the dip. Now queen 6 here on the cutoff. And DB on John opens. This is just a bit on the looser side. Yeah, not really much post-flop playability with this queen 6 off. If we're on the button, I think it's fine, but with a player left to act in position, it just is a bit too marginal, especially with the small blind having only 7 blinds, and we're committed against their all-in if they were to go with it. And just queen 6 just, again, it's just going to be marginal against their all-in range. Just, we have the right odds to call. See, getting over 2-1. But, you know, we're just never in good shape. So, like, even though mathematically we really should, you know, just go with it here, it just is kind of an awkward spot, and that's why DB decides to just let it go. But that's why it's best to just fold in the first place, so you don't have to put yourself in this, you know, sort of weird situation where, you know, you're always calling behind, but you're getting the right odds to do so. But they just don't really want to, like, have to put any more chips with obviously the worst hand, especially when the small blinds. I mean, they're gonna have a good hand here because they know they have no fold equity. Therefore, queen 6 is just not in great shape. But yeah, I mean, this is a spot where we could actually pull it up in Poker Stove to make sure that we are indeed getting the right odds to call. Remember I did this the other day, my calculations. Let's see if I can do it again here real fast. Let's see. Pull up the window for y'all. Here is Poker Stove. Made sure to close out of Poker Stars before I pulled this up too, because they are pretty nitty about having Poker Stove open while Stars is open. Like, it's just not allowed, because they don't want you figuring out the exact equities, in game to give yourself more of an edge over the players. And even though we don't even have any tournaments going right now, like, it still shows up on their radar, and they just send you an email saying, hey, you can't have a stove open while Stars is open. So to avoid that, just close Stars, we're all good. Now let's see, we got Poker Stove here. It's still a nifty program where you just put in ranges or exact hands and then just compare their equities, either pre-flop or post. And so here we have Queen 6. And here, I'll pull up the special little hand chooser here on Poker Stove. The Hold'em distributor is the technical term for it. Here we go. Alright, so we pick out Queen of Hearts, 6 of Spades. And now we put the small blind on a range. So facing a cutoff open with 7 blinds here in the SB, what hands will they likely go with? And I would say probably any ace. So let's do this. Yeah, any ace, any pair for sure. Let's see. Definitely a lot of suited kings. Not all of them though. Let's see. Maybe king. I'd say king 7 suited or higher for sure. Maybe king 6 suited. But let's give them a slightly tighter range, so that way we know, that we're getting the right odds for sure. Because if we get the right odds against this range, if they're ever shoving looser, then it's snap call for sure. I mean, like, we raised 2 blinds, only 5 more. I mean, it's pretty much just a call with whatever you're opening with. But it just goes to show that, like, if it's just too marginal with Queen 6 off to call their all in, then you just need not be opening in the first place. That's something you should consider when you're opening. Are there any short stacks, like less than 10 blinds, that you're committed to call? And if so, you really should be opening on the tighter side. King 9 off, we can say that's the bottom of their offsuit king range. Queen Jack off for sure. Queen 9 suited, I think we can let them go in with Queen 9 suited. 10-9 suited, Jack 9 suited, sure. Seems like a reasonable range. So let's check it out. Against this range, how does Queen 6 off fare? And we have 34%, see here, against this, kind of tight, normal-ish range. I think they maybe would go with a few better suited kings, king 5 suited plus even, maybe queen 8 suited rather than queen 9 suited plus. It's, so like this is not including all the hands they could go with. So obviously when they have other hands that they're going with here, let's see, like we have 34%, against this range, and that's exactly like 2 to 1. So we are getting the right price, as you can see here. We're actually getting like more than 2 to 1. We're getting like 2.8 to 1. So we're just getting a very, very good price basically. We need way less than this, like 20-something% to call. We get 34, so we're getting great odds. Definitely got appeal here. But and if they have like king 5 suited plus queen 8 suited, I mean, maybe toss in like king 8 off, queen 10 off, jack 10 off, jack 8 suited, 10 8 suited, 9-8 suited. Now we have 35%. So, yeah, like we just got to get it in against any range. Let's make it even tighter. Let's say King 10 off. This is really loose or really tight. Queen 8 suited, Queen 9 suited. Yeah, we'll fold out Queen 9 suited, Jack 9 suited, 10 9 suited, King 5, King 6. Maybe even take away the couple of. No, I think we got to get in with any ace still. Yeah, definitely any ace for sure. So this is King 7 suited. Yeah, let's just say King 8 suited, just for fun. So, like, this range, still, yeah, we're still getting 2 to 1, 34%. It just doesn't really change anything. So, yeah, like, if you're opening Queen 6 on the cutoff here, and they're shoving all in for just 5 lines more, I mean, it's a call. Like, you just have to call. It doesn't matter if they flip over their hand and they're ahead of you. Like, well, I mean, I guess that would just change the dynamic, because obviously we're not playing against one particular hand, we're playing against a range of hands, and against that range that they will be going with, Queen 6 has the right odds to call. So yeah, if you're going to open this, you need to call it off when they go all in, and again, that's why it's better to just fold the first time around. King Queen off now, under the gun +1, we open. Low Jack calls on a sub 10 BB stack. Looks suspicious. Generally, when players do this, they'll be on the stronger side of like aces or kings, if they're good. But at the same time, in a 4-180, you're gonna have a lot of recreational players. They don't really know the rules of poker as much. Don't really know what's fundamentally correct. Don't really know what's GTO, what's game theory optimal. So you probably have some players, people here with Jack Queen suited, Jack 10 suited, Ace 5 suited, just want to see a flop and evaluate, even though it makes no sense on this really short stack size. But hey, that's just how they play. BB calls as well. Flop top pair on the Queen 10-7 rainbow. Bet substantially, around 2/3 pot. A little more even. Just to put in the flatter. We bet 866. They only have 778 behind, so that's probably why we go. BB goes with the 2/3, slightly more than 2/3 sizing. I think you can still bet half pot. You can bet like as low as a third pot here. Rainbow board, top pair. You just want to induce. But yeah, I mean, this is a fine size too. It doesn't really matter. Like, you're getting it in regardless. Even against the BB, they don't have that much behind. I mean, they'll get it in with worse queens for sure, and straight draws. Potentially 10x. So yeah, I mean, this is fine. But I think, yeah, you can definitely go as low as like 400 here. That would be plenty. Bet. The caller calls it off. Get a 9 Jack run out to make a streezy. And we ship it up the cheesy against just bottom pair. Somehow they decided that 6-7 off was worth calling free. And that's why these 4-180s are so worth playing. So 3 suited now in the BB. Facing this UTG open. Hijack calls. We call, getting decent odds. What we're getting there, like over 6-1. Can make a straight, can make a flush, can make a straight flush. I mean, it's fine to call for all these reasons, but it's also acceptable to fold since, under the gun is less than 20 blinds, and the flatter is only like 3.5 blinds behind. So you're just gonna have to get it in a lot on the flop. But I mean, you could still just stack off whenever you have like top pair with your 7 or a decent draw. Like here we have a flush draw. Get a c-bet and a call, and now we're getting over 4-1, and you only need 2-1 to draw to a flush. So just getting the right pot odds, easy peel. Jack diamonds on the turn misses us, and hijack goes all in, and we're getting ridiculously good odds, like 22-1, and again we only need like 4-1 to draw to a flush here on the river, so easily call. And we get a min raise, again, kind of pointless from the original raiser since we're literally committed with any hand that we called here with. So they're just giving us the right price to draw out. So they're making a mistake by making that size. So we call, miss the river, and then easily just check. And original raiser checks back with top pair, top kicker. No good against the kings. Ace 3 off here in the small blind. Folds to us. We just jam for however many blinds that is. What, like 1950s, 13, 2100, about 14 blinds. Yeah, very standard. Just go all in with any ace, blind versus blind. You know, up to 20 blinds. And just ship the dip. Even go on maybe a little more than 20, but yeah, certainly 14 BB is just a standard all in all day every day. Ace suited now on the hijack. Standard open, especially when you cover all the stacks left to act, and DB ships the bleezies. Now 5-10 off. Looks like we just fold to under the gun open. A6 suited now under the gun. It's fine to open here when you cover nearly everyone. Only the under the gun plus one player and the small blind have more than us, and they're not in great positions to really play back at us light. So it's fine here, just open, put the pressure on the other players, and we can easily just call off against the under the gun plus two stack. They have less than 5 blinds, so get in with worse hands. We have okay equity against whatever else they get in with. And we just ship the blinds, it's fine. There are a couple schools of thought here. You know, some say that you can raise any suited ace or any position, and you know, other people would fold maybe like the worst, like the worst suited aces, like ace 6 suited or ace 7 suited. Yeah, like the ones on the lower end of the suited ace food chain, because you know they don't have any straight value. That's why like ace deuce through ace 5 suited would probably be better opens, just because they can make a wheel. Whereas even though ace 6 and ace 7 have higher kickers, they just don't have as much equity because no straight value. But when you have a bigger stack, you know, it's fine to open up on the wider side. You know, ace 6 suited still has plenty of equity. And if no one's playing back at you, you know, too much, then yeah, definitely fine to open there and try and steal the blinds. And DB on John does just that. Now we have Jack 9 suited in the BB, facing this UTG open, and we flat, getting great odds over 4-1 with a hand that can make a streezy fleazy dreezy. And we just see a flop. Flop second pair on 7-10-9 rainbow board. Streezy fleazy dreezy, that's straight flush draw. Yeah, for all of those of you not in the know. And under the gun checks back, and we easily just bet the turn for value with our second pair and straight draw, just because if they had a top pair plus, they certainly would bet the flop. A lot of draws out there they want to protect. So once they check back, we can be pretty certain that our second pair is good, bet it for value, and take down. Nice hand. Pocket eights. Under the gun plus one. Under the gun 3x's, and here is an easy fold because under the gun only has what, like 4,300, so 21.5 blinds. So for them to be opening on the stack size under the gun just signifies strength. Excuse me. And eights is just not faring very well against that range. Like they're probably gonna have like nines plus, maybe like ace queen plus, perhaps ace jack plus, maybe ace jack is suited. And we still have a lot of players left to act, and they're often going to be an overcard, you know, usually even 2 on the flop. So it's just going to be too tricky to play our hand post against, you know, a range that is just, you know, crushing ours. So, yeah, it just doesn't fare well against what they're raising with here. So we, yeah, are just better off mucking. Probably muck 9s as well. 10s is where it gets kind of close. Probably 3-bet call jacks plus and ace king. Maybe flat ace queen suited. Definitely full ace queen off though. But we flat, and the cutoff calls. Still not terrible if you think that they, you know, are raising some wider hands here, like, you know, like they're maybe if they have like sevens or they like ace 10, you know, if like 3xing is their standard open, and you've seen them show down worse hands like king queen or something, then yeah, sure, I guess you could peel if they play really straightforwardly post. But again, like you're still pretty shallow, like on this. You know, now they have less than 20 blinds behind. Just gonna be too tricky to play post. So that's why I think just still in general folding is best. Cutoff calls, button calls. Flop a boat, king 8 king board, and we get a 3 on the turn. Just delay c-bet. A little more than a third pot. And this is fine. I kind of like checking again since there's a second flush draw, just to hopefully let someone get there with a flush, or maybe make a lower boat, like sevens or sixes or something. Just let them get there. Or just like if someone has ace X, get like an ace on the river, just so you can get some more action from your hand. Because like as played, checks around on a king board, you could easily have a king and be slow playing. So it looks strong when you check the flop at the turn, especially with the small blind all in, so you have to show down your hand. So yeah, I don't mind checking here. Again, betting is okay because you don't want to see a king or a 3 roll off. That way if anyone has a king, then they improved quads or a boat, with a 3. So yeah, then they would have a better hand than your boat, so you definitely want to protect against situations like that. But I mean, that's still not too many outs. A lot more good rivers than bad ones. So I think that, yeah, again, just checking to allow someone else to maybe like value bet with worse, or just allow someone to catch up, I think has a lot of merit. But betting is never bad. So you bet, just want to juice up the pot that way. If someone has a king or someone has like a draw, like, maybe they turn the clubs, they'll call. And if you check around and the clubs miss, they fold. So there's a lot of value in, just betting to get a draw to call that couldn't call the river. Definitely find a bet here for sure. Everyone folds. And good 3 on the river, but it wouldn't have mattered to no one had a king anyway. And DB on John ships the dip against the Jack 5 off, the old Motown. Now we got 6-7 here in the BB. 3x it up and take it down. I like this play a lot. Small blind's gonna be limping here on the wider side, so we punish them by 3xing against their looser range, just putting the pressure on them in position. We can easily take it down with a c-bet when they call, and potentially double barrel some turns just with the range advantage. Again, like, we're going to have like all the overpairs here when we raise, and they pretty much have none when they limp call. So, yeah, just putting the pressure on position. Definitely a good play. Nice hand DB on John. Queen 10 suited now in the small blind. Looks like folds to the button. They just ship it all in. So, yeah, easy fold. King Jack now on the cutoff. Under the gun, open limps. DB 4x ISOs. Like this play a lot. It's fine to do this or limp. Like, those are the two options. Folding's too weak. King Jack's just a good hand here facing a limp, especially in 4-180 where they limp wider. And if you have a read that they aren't strong by limping under the gun, if you've seen them limp, wider range, or just, don't think that they're the type of player to like slow play or, try and limp trap, then yeah, definitely 4x ISO for value. They have worse kings and jacks they could call with in other worse hands. And now you can get the pot heads up more often and have the initiative post with the range advantage. Again, like, you can have all the overpairs here when you ISO, but when you limp behind, you have none of them. Small blind calls. And under the gun flats, you get a deuce 5-5 rainbow board. Checks around to us, we bet a third pot. This is fine, perfect sizing. Don't need to go any bigger than this. It's just a completely dry board. No one's going to connect with it much of the time. And again, we have legitimate value hands in our range here. So we want to bet small like we would if we had it, to rep like we do. Small blind calls, original limper folds, turn a jack for top pair, and just want to keep betting for value now. When the small blind flats our flop bet, they're going to have a lot of pocket pairs, probably like 6s through 10s, and some ace highs like ace queen, ace 10, ace jack as well, but we can discount that since we have a jack. And we just need to bet here for value since there's a turn flush draw. Just want to protect. Don't want to see like a queen or an ace roll out either. So DB bets a bit more than a third pot and takes it down. Very nice hand, bro. And on that note, we will actually let's play out this pocket tens real quick. Got 10s on the hijack, just open it up. BB defends, we flop a great board, all unders, rainbow, just want to bet for protection, bet a little more than half pot. And it's good enough to ship the dip. And on that note, we will end part 2 of this $4 180 hand history review. Hope you guys have learned a thing or two. And see you back soon, hopefully, for part 3.